Good morning. As we get settled, you're welcome to join in with Ron and I singing one of our favorite songs. I am a radiant light of God. I shine the light of love.
Pick it up a little bit.
I am a radiant light of God. I shine the light of love. And when I stumble, I live by the light of my faith, shining both night and day. Shining both night and day. I am a radiant light of God. I shine the light of peace. I am a radiant light of God. I shine the light of peace.
And when I see your face, I see the light of God guiding you on your way. Guiding you on your way.
Now what are you?
I am a radiant light of God.
I shine the light of beauty. I am a radiant light of God. I shine the light of beauty. And with conviction so sound, I know that now is the time to pray. Now is the time to pray. I am a radiant light of God. I shine the light of wisdom. I am a radiant light of God. I shine the light of wisdom. I am a radiant light of God. I shine the light of healing. I am a radiant light of God. I shine the light of healing. I am a radiant light of God. I shine the light of love. Good morning and welcome to Unity of Walnut Creek. Please stand and join us in our next song. I think you all know this one. God is good, good in everyone, and a thought can change your water into wine. Prayer and meditation make it easy to feel, but you gotta walk the talk to make it real. God is good, good in everyone, and the thought can change the water into wine. Prayer and meditation make it easy to feel, and you got to walk the talk to make it real. Oh yeah. God is good, good in everyone, and a thought can change the water into wine. Prayer and meditation make it easy to feel, and you got to walk the talk to make it real.
One more time.
Oh yeah. God is good, good in everyone, and a thought can change the water into wine. Prayer and meditation make it easy to feel, but you gotta walk the talk to make it real.
God is good. God is good. Yeah, God is good.
Oh, God is good.
good.
Woohoo! Good morning.
You are small in numbers, but you are mighty, right? Yes. My name is Linda Stevens, and it's my joy and my honor to be here with you this morning. And folks at home, we're glad to have you here. We love your energy, we love your spirit, and we love that you join us on Sunday mornings. If you can't be here in person, be online. Thank you so much. Thank you. Now, if you'll turn off those things that bing or ding or wake you up in the mornings or on the phone, if you'll turn those off, that would be wonderful during service. Thank you so much. Now, we have some great musicians with us this morning. We have Matt back over there in the corner, yes. And we have Max. Do I do that, Max? I can call him cute, is what I can call him. We're glad to have you here with us. Thank you so very much. And then we've got Dan on the drums and Tyler. And my script says that we have Keith. It's not Keith. It's Ron Salazar. Hey, it's the first time I've seen Ron up here, and it's good. I love it, Ron, and also singing with Annie. So we're so blessed to have such great people right here in our midst that do such a wonderful job. Thank you so much. Thank you. And we have very special guests this morning. If you guys didn't see them the last time they were here, we have the traveling, I want to get it right, the Traveling Voices and Sounds of Joy. And we so look forward to seeing you in just a few minutes. Thank you for being here. Unity is a positive path for spiritual living. And that's why we come on Sunday morning for reminders of how to live that path in integrity and in spirit. And so that's why our classes and that's why Sundays are so important to help us on that path. At Unity, we have a mission statement. And that mission statement is, at Unity of Walnut Creek, in a loving community, we empower spiritual growth by modeling and teaching universal spiritual principles. Our statement of faith, I know you guys all know this, but they're going to have it up on the board behind me, is, first of all, take a breath. Perfect. You guys have that down. Together, there is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, the all-loving goodness of God. Now, once again, go deep inside where you and spirit meet. And again, there is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, the all-loving goodness of God. And now, if you're here with us for the very first time, or if you've been gone and you feel like you're just coming home, and you're willing, you could raise your hand, please, and let us know that you're new. We'll bring around a welcome packet. So we have one back over here in the corner. I don't see anybody else. Thank you, thank you. And if you'll fill out the connection card that's in there, that'll let us know that you were here today. And take that packet over to our bookstore, and we have a gift for you. And it is a handmade wooden necklace of a dove. And that's one of the symbols that we kind of use for us. And that if you wear that, it'll let us know that you're new. And it's your choice whether to wear it or not. Thank you for being here today. You're welcome. Thank you. And if you didn't raise your hand, that's okay too, because you can still go to the bookstore and get the packet and the gift. Okay? Now, for everybody else, there's a connection card available in the seat pocket in front of you. With this card, you can submit a prayer request, and our prayer chaplains will be praying with you throughout the week. You could also share some feedback with us if there's something you'd like for us to know here at the center. Now it's time to greet your neighbors. So if you'll stand up and shake a hand or give a hug until you hear the gong.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Zoe. Hi. If you are wanting to assist with the local community affected by the fires, please see Carl Jansen, a member of our social action team, at a table on the patio to learn about how our community is participating. Join us today for an author reading and conversation with Sandy Foreman. Sandy is the author of Cancer Again. Her book is inspiring and helpful for those who are experiencing cancer or who have a loved one who is on their healing journey. We'll also have a light lunch. Would you like to learn more about Unity's beliefs, principles, and history? Reverend Kristen is teaching Unity Basics on Thursday, October 19th, the 26th, and November 2nd. This class is open to everyone, and all 3 sessions are required to become a member of our church and to vote at the annual meeting on November 5th. Please sign up today at the welcome table. Would you like to learn how to diffuse uneasy conversations? Come to our Diffusing Hatred program on October 22nd. We will have a presentation and hands-on experience with role play. The afternoon will be facilitated by Reverend Will McGarvey of the Interfaith Council. Unity returns to the Summer of Love in 2 weeks. Get your tickets and turn in your donations at the patio after the service. And this is very important, everyone. Our service times are going to change. Starting November 19th, we will have a contemplative service at 9 o'clock and then a celebratory service at 11:30. And please take a close look at today's bulletin for details on these and other activities. Now for more music.
Let there be peace in my mind. Let there be peace in the earth. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om. 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 Peace inside my mind, God and only God is moving me. Peace inside my mind, God and only God I live to see. Peace inside my mind, God and only God is moving me. Peace inside my mind, God and only God I live to see. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om. 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 Peace inside my heart, God and only God is moving me. Peace inside my heart, God and only God I live to see. Peace inside my heart, God and only God is moving me. Peace inside my heart, God and only God I live to see. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om. Peace inside the earth, God and only God is moving me. Peace inside the earth, God and only God I live to see. Peace inside the earth, God and only God is moving me. Peace inside the earth, God and only God I live to see. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om. 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 Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om.
So I want you to take that rhythm and chant that you just heard and imagine these beautiful beings walking across the areas that have been burned with that chant. Om Shanti Om. Peace, peace, peace. That's how we heal. That's how we restore. Thank you for that blessing. Garrett Reig is one of our prayer chaplains, and he is going to share a reading with us that begins our meditation time.
This follows that beautiful song of Om Shanti as our response to the catastrophes of the last week and the last months. Let go, let God. From yesterday's daily word. As I let go of worries, I welcome in peace. I breathe this truth in and breathe it out during my meditation and through each day. I let go of worries. I welcome in peace. Whether it's the fires up north or any other issue going on in the world or in my life, I know I give it all over to the Spirit that knows all. I let the all-loving Spirit have my burdens, upsets, uncertainties, and fears. As I do so, I am transformed to be more of who I am created to be. By letting go, I am leaving space for peace and clarity to enter my life. Om Shanti.
Tatsavitur vareniam, Bargo devasya dimahi, Dio yona prachodayat, Om Bhurvasva Tatsavitur vareniam, Bargo devasya dimahi, Dio yona prachodayat, Om Bhurvasva Tatsavitur vareniam, Bargo devasya dimahi, Dio yona prachodayat, Om Bhurvasva Tatsavitur vareniam, Bargo devasya dimahi, Dio yona prachodayat, Om Bhurvasva Tatsavitur vareniam, Bargo devasya dimahi, Dio yona prachodayat,
The mantra Om is the bow. This is from the Upanishads. The aspirant, that's us, is the arrow. And the Lord of our being, the target. And so when we chant Om, we are drawing the bowstring of meditation and hitting the target of oneness with God. And so I invite you to take deep breaths and bring forth the Om from deep in your being, to chant together this universal sound for God, hitting that target of oneness, allowing the Om to move through us. For we ourselves, the arrows, shot to the center of God by our chant. We're bringing that deep Om forward. We bring forth the sound of God, the sound of truth, the palpable presence of God, the healing love, the everlasting peace. I invite you to chant Om with me now.
And now allowing that presence and that power that you feel moving through your body to be a place of rest for a few moments in the silence. Now I invite you to chant 3 times together, Om Shanti, bringing peace. Together. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Om Shanti.
Om Bhurvasva Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Oh, to Spirit, I surrender. All to God I freely give. I will ever trust and love in God's presence I daily live. I surrender all. I surrender all. Oh, to Thee, my precious Spirit, I surrender all. Oh, to Spirit, I surrender. Lord, I give myself to Thee. Fill me with Thy love and power. fall down on me. I surrender all.
I surrender all.
I surrender all.
Surrender
all to thee, my blessed Savior. I surrender all. I surrender all. Spirit and Savior, I surrender. Oh, I surrender all. I surrender all. I surrender all.
Wow. Thank you for being with us. Yeah. I want to start out by sharing a poem by my friend Mirabai Starr. It's the title of the book, too, Mother of God, Similar to Fire. Mother of God, similar to fire, ignite my heart in prayer. Where once I stood on familiar ground, selecting my spiritual experiences like choice morsels from a well-tended larder. Now my garden has gone up in flames, and I thirst only for the living God. Let me find him, Mother, as you do, deep inside my own ripened being. Let me swallow the sacred and burn with that presence, illuminating a way home to the truth. Lit from within, let my blazing heart become a sanctuary for the weary traveler, until this long night lifts and dawn unfolds new radiance. Mother of God, similar to fire. Something we're very familiar with right now, something that's on all of our minds. And this third week of our series couldn't come at a better time. Divine practice and surrender. So those of you who are new to our series, you'll find in the bulletin chapter readings from The Hope, A Guide to Sacred Activism, a book that we're using through our fall series, and discussion questions that if you didn't make it into a study group, you can discuss with a friend or use as journal questions to go deeper with the teachings that we're sharing with you each Sunday. So today we're looking at spiritual practices, and Andrew Harvey, the author of our book, talks about practices in terms maybe that we haven't used before, cool practices and warm practices. And at first I thought, well, what's the point of really pointing that out? But actually, as I've worked with the concepts, I see where it's helpful, because for us, as we discern, what do I need now? It may be a different kind of practice that is calling our soul. Maybe if we're really used to the cool practice of meditation and the peace that comes with that practice, maybe what our soul really needs right now is to dance, a body practice, or a warm practice like chanting, like we just did, or chanting as in the music that was shared and singing with the music. So there's different times in our lives that maybe these practices, we can mix them up a little bit or bring in new practices to combine with what we're using now. And only you know the answer to what's best for you. So asking yourself, when do I need a warm practice? When do I need a cool practice? Is a part of the journey that could be very helpful. So meditation, something that we talk about a lot in Unity, certainly one of our key practices, coming into the silence, into this place where we do touch the hem of God's garment, if you will, touch that sense of infinite peace as we just have together, and raise up the vibration, especially when we come together in prayer and meditation. And Harvey also sort of forewarns us of something that maybe you can relate to. There are also times when the peace and serenity and bliss of cool practices, he says, can actually be a drug to mask the agony of the world and the urgent call to action. So sometimes our practices can be a withdrawal or retreat to the point that it isn't really as helpful to the world as it could be, and it sort of fools us in a way into thinking all is well, even though we know everything is well. You know what I'm saying? I think it was Edwin Gaines who said, look around the world and see something that needs to be healed and give all of your energy and attention to that, all the while knowing that nothing at all needs to be healed because it's all perfect and right and whole in spirit. So it's our charge really to hold that spiritual vision. My practice now with the fires is every time I see those images of devastation, I close my eyes and I see the image of green like our lawn and spring and new earth. And it's not denying what's going on. It's not a denial of the pain and the reality, but it's a holding of the vision that spirit sees of rebirth and restoration and wholeness and growth and life. That's our work in prayer, isn't it? And prayer is really a warm and a cool practice. You know, the cool practice of affirmative prayer is standing firm on our principles, right? Calling forth the healing, calling forth the truth. When I Skyped with my friend this week from Holland, who's gone through several surgeries and is dealing with cancer right now, I see the truth in her, that I see the person I know who's like a really connected to nature, vital, strong being. And it's like the hospital bed and the gown are like a bizarre costume. And the truth of what I see in her is what I hold in the prayer. That's when we stand on our principles and we uphold that kind of truth. So when we hear news about each other, about the fires, for example, or somebody going through illness, we might feel the sadness of that. And that is a part of the embodiment of our journey and our practice as well. And then we also can hold the vision of the truth of what we see. It's a both and, you know. And it can be a quiet holding. It doesn't have to be a shared holding necessarily, although there may be ways we can share that vision that's helpful to somebody without not being compassionate for where they are. It's a delicate dance, this prayer thing. And the warm part of the prayer practice is the feeling, right? That's the juice, the passion and the compassion that we feel, the love and the connection that we feel with God, the faith moving through us, the knowing. All of that is a felt and emotional experience of prayer. And that warmth is necessary. Otherwise, it's just sort of these empty platitudes of principle without any energy in them, any life and feeling in them. So prayer is a lovely way to straddle the line of those cool and those warm practices. And one of the things that's really being called for, you know, our study groups are all also service groups during this series. And so each one is doing various kinds of service. One of the study groups, Annie's group, called the Unities up north just to check on everybody and to reach out to everybody and say, what can we do? How can we help? And everybody said, pray to calm the winds. That's sacred activism right there. use your practice as a gift of service. What greater gift can we give than that kind of connection and consciousness in bringing forth what is specifically asked for? Calmness. Just as Jesus calmed the storm, peace, be still, and the winds died down. And know that I am. And so as we pray that truth, peace, be still, and know that I am. In fact, I want to invite you to do that, to just envision all those areas north of us, as I suggested earlier, and to see that vision of green. And is to be the calm wind itself. As the Native Americans say, you're not praying for calm, you're praying calm. You are the calm. And so be that calm. Be that wind for a moment that is blowing, and then that calm, that wind that finds its center, that wind that feels the alignment with spirit, and that is now complete stillness. And then we bring that, our whole selves, our bodies, our souls, our hearts, our minds, our practice is an offering, a giving over, and a far greater blessing than you might ever know. That's the invisible, mysterious work of our practice with Spirit. We don't always know. And that's part of what Harvey encourages us in this week's work together, is to surrender our attachment to how it has to go, how it needs to look. We've all got an idea of what we think it needs to look like. I've offered you an image of green and spring. That's my hope. But it's a trap to get attached to how things need to look, because we don't always see the greater vision, the bigger picture of what's happening. The darkness that seems to be sweeping over us right now is all part of a greater picture. And so if we can just hold tight, align ourselves, be strong. A couple weeks ago we did that exercise where we were pushing each other over, and then we grounded ourselves in spirit, and many people said, oh, I feel so much stronger. I feel like even though I feel the pressure, it's okay. And it's the same thing in the world, if we keep our practices fresh. And it doesn't have to be, a certain way. So don't get hung up on, I don't meditate 20 or 30 minutes a day, therefore I'm not going to do anything. Be the prayer all the time. Every breath is a connection with the earth. Go out upon the earth barefoot or lie upon the ground and ground yourself to Mother Earth. Connect to her. Give yourself over and over to God in these practices, and we will be amazed at what we can do together. Jack Kornfield is the founder of Spirit Rock, not very far from us, and he spoke there yesterday. And one of the things he said is, don't let the terror going on in the world colonize your heart. And I love that he used that term because we know what that feels like a little bit. We can sense that or have experienced that maybe more directly in our lives, of what it feels like, that very imperialistic kind of authoritarian colonizing, taking over. And it's our choice to say, no, I'm not letting that terror take hold in my heart. I'm not going to let it occupy or overcome or colonize parts of me. Instead, we could do the practice, like Andrew Harvey, one of the practices he suggests is Tonglen, a practice that feels very contrary to our unity work, but you know what? We're in a very contrary place in the world. So new practices may be exactly what we need to infuse our very solid, familiar practices, not giving those up, but infuse them with a new breath of energy and awareness. So in Tonglen, we breathe in the pain of the world, but you don't do that until you're really grounded in your own alignment with Spirit. So once we feel really prayed up and we feel really clear and clean and grounded and faithful and confident and knowing and standing in that principle that says no to what it is that we know is not absolute truth, enduring truth, permanent truth. And we let in that temporal pain, that temporal image, that temporal experience of pain that's happening now, so everywhere present, it seems, in our world. And we just surrender to it, letting it in. But what are we letting it into? We're letting it into that light that is the absolute light in our hearts. It is that absolute love that we're grounded in. And so it's a transforming power. When the pain comes in, we don't have to be afraid of it because we're completely grounded in the light and the love of Spirit. We're an open heart of light and love that can transform. And as that pain comes in and it touches the light and it touches the love and it touches the open heartbreak and compassion and sense of complete surrender to Spirit that you are offering, it is transformed like that. And then we breathe out the peace. The Om Shanti over the fields. We breathe out the love that heals and connects and offers hope and comfort to those who need it. We've done a lot of the work, those of you in this room. I know you have over the years. You've done a lot of work, a lot of personal growth work, a lot of practice, a lot of being the best person you can be, a lot of being genuine and of service and of kindness. And it's what we need so badly. And you do it already. We do it already. We're already that. There's nothing that has to be added to us. We are perfect and whole and worthy and God. And that embodied divinity is what is being called forth more than ever. Just be it. And the practices are what keeps you staying aligned and reminded of who you are. And so touching in, keeping grounded, it's an important part of the process. You know, has anybody ever said, I'm getting ahead of myself? Or I'm falling behind? Or I'm beside myself? Those are literal exclamations of your energetic body being out of your grounded human form. So when you find yourself feeling that way and saying that, take heed. Spirit is telling you, oh, time to come together. That's not where we want to be. We want to be God in the body. I can often feel my own energy like hovering about from here up. And I was talking to my sister on the phone the other day, and we have these simpatico kinds of spiritual things, even though we have different belief systems in some ways and different churches. And she said, I went to this, craniosacral person, and she said, my energy hovers right about at my knees. And I thought, oh my goodness, truly sisters in spirit, you know? And so when I'm aware of that, which I was the last couple of weeks, I just start bringing visualizing the energy in and bringing it all the way through the soles of the feet, because some of us have seen the world. I went to an energy healer many years ago in Kansas. Her name was Laura, and she had this beautiful place where she grounded the heart energy of Jesus and the mind energy of Buddha on her property intentionally with community around her. And you could feel that kind of energy anchored in that space, that kind of balanced energy. And so in that space, I did some great healing work with her. And one time she said, it's like when we were talking about a time when I was a baby, and she said, it's like your energetic field went up and it's like hanging out way over here in the corner, and it's nowhere near your body. And it's like my spirit decided at that point, I'm out of here. And it wasn't like I had some trauma or anything. I think I just saw the world and went, I don't think so. Rather go back. And so she worked with me and brought this like very sweet baby-like energy, part of my soul, back in. And it was like, coming home. And that's what happens for us every time our energy gets shifted out in some way, that we cast it out. I hope I'm sounding really woo-woo today. I hope you're tracking with me okay. Going home going, I don't know what she's been drinking. So that those practices really, it's just so important right now. I guess that's what I really want to say. It's so important right now for us to be grounded. And it's so important for us to be grounded in our spirituality, connecting with earth and spirit. Actually, the poet Kabir said it really beautifully. He said, let me see if I can find it. Oh, it's here somewhere. I have more pages than I thought I had. He said, my father is the transcendent absolute. My mother is the embodied Godhead. And I am their divine child. In the burning ground of life, with a father's peace and the mother's wild love. I am the divine child. In the burning ground of life, with a father's peace and the mother's wild love. Couldn't be a better quote for what's going on north of us. So these practices, there's the body practices and the warm practices like the chanting and prayer, and singing is a really wonderful warm practice, and the cooling practices of concentrated practices. So it could be like contemplating a passage or as I said, meditation, or kind of focused style of meditation, which we often practice here. They're focusing on the breath or focusing on a mantra. But then when that mantra gets really deep into the heart and there's chanting of the mantra, then we're in the warm practice. So there's just this beautiful kind of moving together. There are other practices that he doesn't name. Dreaming is one. All of us dream every night, they say, the experts say. I know we don't all remember them, but if we intentionally ask that we may remember our dreams and begin to journal them, you'll find wonderful things revealed in your dreams to you. Wonderful insights and guidance and awakenings. So dreaming can be dreaming and paying attention to dreams and giving some attention to them can be one of those great ways that you're inviting the subconscious to reveal itself in the conscious mind. And that can be a great practice. And ritual. Ritual is another thing that can be really helpful for you anytime, for all of us at any time. One of the things to do is to make a conscious practice of a simple thing. As you cross the threshold of your home, maybe if you're leaving in the morning or whenever it is that you're going out into the world, just take a moment to be conscious of that. So if you consider your home a sanctuary, which I hope you can create that kind of space in your home, this is a place of sanctuary, a place of peace, a place of prayer, a place of joy, connection, whatever it is for you, that those qualities that feel really important. It's a safety zone, a sanctuary of some kind that feels like there's a presence of spirit there. And as you move out into the world, of course, there's the presence of spirit there too, but who knows what you're going to meet there. And so we prepare, and as we cross the threshold, we allow that energy of home, of sanctuary to be carried with us. And then as you come home after a day of giving service, after the time of being present in the world and open to all that is, you can have some kind of ritual of letting go. Letting go of all that you thought about today and experienced today and connected with today, and then a prayerful way of crossing that threshold. Or you might physicalize the ritual a little bit. You might, like, as you would come into a temple, and you might take off your shoes or have a little water to dab on your third eye and your heart and your hands, or some kind of a holy cleansing. Or go and wash your hands with real consciousness and just wash off the day. And allow yourself then to have an evening of quiet rest or joyful connection, or both, whatever it is for you. All these simple things we can build into our days. It's not about taking a lot of time. It's about taking good care of ourselves and each other. So he talks about surrender, and Harvey is really focused on surrendering outcome, which is certainly a part of what we're talking about. the art of holding this vision, as I said, of what it is that we want. But when we hold the vision of what it is that we want, we can hold it with an open hand. And so we can still have those things that we are dreaming about and imagining and holding for ourselves and our world and our lives and our loved ones, but we don't have to hold it like this. That's the attachment to outcome. It's got to be this way. It needs to look this way. If we don't have that, then our prayers weren't answered. If that doesn't show up, then God's not listening. If, all the story we tell around it. We don't know. I mean, we have access to infinite intelligence and divine wisdom, yet we don't see the whole picture usually, maybe glimpses. And so what we can do is in that picture that we do get, we can hold it in this gentle, loving, sort of open-handed way that says, I'm offering this. I see this, but I'm not like gripping it. It doesn't have to be that way. It's an offering. And this is part of our practice too. It's an offering, right? In Bali, there's these great devotional practices, and they offer just beautiful flowers and incense, and offerings are left everywhere. And the temples in people's homes, every home has a temple, in front of the businesses, at the temples where people gather in the town, always offerings are brought, always offerings given to the god and the goddess, the many faces of the one. And then after the offerings are given, there's a prayer ritual where you come empty-handed. That's the surrender. So the practices are an offering, and they're also a surrender, an opening, a receptivity, being a channel, allowing ourselves to receive and to be guided and to gain clarity and to be told what is my next step. Surrender can be simple and it can be really deep. 2,000 people have jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge in suicide. You may have heard this before. Kevin Hines is one of the 1% of survivors. And he tells his story. He's now giving, to help others. He's telling his story because he said what happened was, he said, I remember the very moment my hands went over the bridge and I catapulted myself. And he said, in that moment, I regretted it. He had severe mental illness, and he just couldn't stand the voices anymore and all of that he was experiencing. And he was only 17. And he just didn't know that people cared. But in that instant, and he said the other 19 survivors say the same thing. In the instant they let go, they regretted their choice. What happened in that instant? Surrender. In that instant was the surrender that said, I am no longer resisting what is, and I'm surrendering, if you will, into the hope. And that's exactly what he's done, and he's found coping skills, and he found out everybody cared about him. And he's still mentally ill, but he's created an amazing way of managing his life and appreciating his life and being of service in his life. And so if we know that from people who have had those experiences and survived, we know that moment of surrender can be translated into anything where we stop resisting what is and we just allow. We allow what is to be, and then we allow Spirit to direct us as to what is ours to do. Because it's not about letting it be and blocking it out or numbing ourselves or desensitizing ourselves, which is easy also to do. So it's not about that, but it is about surrendering and stopping the resisting energy to say, okay, all right, so there's fires. There's hurricanes. There's violence. There's people committing suicide. There's, all that is going on, yes. And what else are we surrendering to? A God that loves, a power that heals, a presence that never ends, a rebirth that is happening. So hang on. We're in labor. But it's going to be beautiful. The baby that we birth together. The new world that comes through us. And how do we hang on? Is to hang on to each other and to keep our practices going. So you can start your day by surrendering your agenda, like Carl, one of my teachers, did in ministerial school. He'd say, Good morning, God. What do you have in store for me? Count me in. And so just a joyful way of saying, I'm in, and it's not about my agenda. I might have a long to-do list. Spirit might have another idea. So it's not, and I think what we find when we do that is there is a sense of productivity that we didn't even really know was there, a sense of possibility for us. And Teresa of Avila is one of the people who maybe knew that better than any, a mystic who was all about surrender and who did amazing accomplishments at the time in which she lived. I mean, she founded many convents of the Carmelite order, and then she reformed the entire order to go back to being barefoot Carmelites, they were called, stripped down to the basics of prayer because there was too much distraction in what they were up to. She was a true mystic. She wrote the book, The Interior Castle, which is a real mystical masterpiece. And in it, she has a one-sentence word that always just stands out on the page to me, and it's just surrender, period. And yet, in that surrender, she did so much. She accomplished so much. She was dealing with physical illness, and she accomplished so much. And so I want to leave you with this prayer that she offers us. You might know it, the bookmark prayer. Let nothing disturb you. Let nothing frighten you. All things are passing. God alone is changeless. Patience gains all things. Who has God wants nothing. God alone suffices. And so it is. Let's speak our affirmation together. It's a little bit long, but it's on your bulletin if you want to work with it this week. Together, I am an ardent prayer and passionate dreamer, giving over to Spirit again and again. Bless you.
Thank you, Kristen. That was wonderful, wonderful. I love that last prayer. Thank you. Did you get what you were coming for? I did. Thank you. And thank you for putting us in a place for the people up north and down south. Thank you. Okay, our prayer chaplains, they're here to offer you that very precious personal experience of personal prayer. They're wearing the lavender stoles, and they're here for your joys and for your heartaches, whatever you need to pray about today. After service, please find one of them if that is in your heart. And now let us open to our prosperity celebration and open our hearts to the consciousness of giving as we align with the universal law of circulation, in that as we give, so shall we receive. Because in truth, we have no lack and no limitation. There's also a variety of ways that you can give to Unity of Walnut Creek. For credit card donations, you can push PushPay on your smartphone or take an envelope in the back of on the clipboard in the back of the seat in front of you. Please include that 3-digit CVC number. Otherwise, we can't process it. Thank you. And those of you at home, we don't forget about you. You can also use PushPay on your smartphone or click the donate button on the Watch Live page. Thank you for supporting Unity of Walnut Creek. We so appreciate you being there in spirit and in your gifts to Unity. Now I encourage you to take your tithe and your love offering and affirm with me our blessing. Divine love, one with me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am joy-filled and grateful. Don't forget to go get your tickets for, what is it? The Summer of Love. Absolutely. See you there. Thanks.
the Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. I used to think that I had to. I used to think that I should. The scripture told me that I had to be good. But now I love because I want to. I love because I'm free, guided by the Spirit. Oh yeah, the Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, oh yeah. Spirit of God is upon me. Spirit of God is upon me. The Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, I don't need any prodding. I don't need any law. I want to say with all my heart that God is my all and all. I let go of my burdens. Loving God has set me free. Thank God for my freedom. Oh yeah, the Spirit of God is upon me. I said, oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, yeah, the Spirit of God is upon me. Say, oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, you see, I thought it was my duty. I thought it was my job. Somehow I believed that loving God would be hard. But loving God is wonderful. Loving God is ecstasy. Thank God for my freedom. Oh yeah, the Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. And I said, oh, yeah. The Spirit of God is upon me. Said, oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. I said, oh, yeah. The Spirit of God is upon me. I said, oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. I said, oh, yeah. The Spirit of God is upon me. I said, oh, yeah. The Spirit of God is upon me. I said, oh, yeah. The Spirit of God is upon me.
Thank you, Traveling Voice and the Sounds of Joy, for bringing the Spirit in. Oh, wow. Yeah. And you too, little guy. Let's bless these gifts and the one behind me. Infusing this spiritual, financial outpicturing of the truth of who we are and what we are giving to the world. Thank you, God, for our continued abundance, for the generosity of our congregation that continues to allow our ministry to thrive. And let's bless this together with the affirmation on the screen. Together, we give thanks for the ever-increasing, unceasing flow of absolute good in our lives now. Let's bring the rest of our children up.
Marching in the light of God. We are 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 marching, marching, we are marching, marching, we are marching in the light of
want to share anything, Faith? There's a microphone behind you. Do you need it? We're okay. All right. The children are tracking with us, so they're also studying the hope in their own way. And yeah, so spiritual practices and surrender, a little bit of that today. Very good. All right. Well, let's bless our children and teachers together. Youth and teachers, you are loved, special, and important. The light of God shines through you. And I invite you to take a hand of your neighbor and let's close out with a prayer of protection. Together, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And our peace song.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be, with God ever present, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
You are the light and the love and the peace on earth right now. So let your light shine and have fun.
Have fun.